Welcome to We Are the People with Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, who ask you to know what's happening with your student loan. Tracy and Jorge keep a deep look at student loans in this country and the industries that surround it. Every week, We Are the People will bring you new insight into the corporate welfare industry, such as bailouts, and they connect with student loans. The show will highlight on your constitutional rights and how the current system is built to infringe upon them. Join the conversation by visiting our website chat room at wearethepeople.tv. Or call the show at 888-565-1470 and let us hear from you. And now, let's tune in to Tracy and Jorge for this week's discussion.
Hello and good evening, and thank you for joining us again. Tonight's guest is Alexandra Casuso, and she is a graduate teaching assistant at FAU, student activist, and also she has her own tutoring company as well. So I invited Alexandra on for a few different reasons. One, because she is a student activist, but two, because she's also what I would call one of our student loan success stories. So we hear a lot of stuff about student loans. So I do like to try to bring the success to inspire others to just keep plugging. That being said, really quick, we had another student loan story with Calypso Salt and Soap. She is paid up and will be at the Renaissance Fair this year. So I delivered that money myself, and that came from our program trying to help out people in trouble. So that being said, get your sea witch on with Calypso Salt and Soap, sultry fragrances, sassy salts and sugars, and just amazing soaps and creams. So please go to calypsosaltandsoap.com. That's CalypsoSaltandSoap.com. Calypsosaltand.com. Calypsosaltandsoap.com. Blah, blah, blah. And welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to let Jorge do his little bit right now, and then we'll get to it.
Hello, everyone. My usual entrance into the program. Today is Columbus Day, 1492. He sailed all the blue seas, and he was the first European to come here. And the importance today is that he discovered the American continent. And in our region of the world, as Latinos, we call it El Día de la Hispanidad, Hispanics Day. And Florida has a name, Florida, because it was discovered by the Spaniards, and it means flowered land. And Boca Raton, which I always mention every day, where we're coming live from WWNN Studios in Boca Raton. I know you can't do that if you're an Anglo, but try it anyway. The anglicized version is Boca Raton, and that means mouth of the mouse, which I always, as you know, enter into my rat of the week. But we're not going to do it today because we have a lot to talk about. We have a guest, so we'll leave the rat of the week for next week, possibly. But remember, it's Columbus Day, and it's an important day because he discovered this continent, and we're part of the great continent, this great country that we're trying to make it a little bit better every day by shows like this and trying to improve our life in the United States of America. And with that said, let's get to work.
Okay, now if you'd like to call in and ask a question or have a comment, our toll-free number is 888-565-1470. So feel free to call in. Again, 888-565-1470. Now, Alex, you're an amazing young woman. I am so proud of you, and I barely know you. You have a very, very interesting story, and the twist that I wanted to tell you about is this young lady managed to graduate debt-free, almost. You have one loan that's $5,000 that does not accrue interest.
Yes, it's
Okay.
a subsidized government loan.
Okay, so if you're going to have to do loans, that's the one you want for a first choice. But not only did she graduate with minimal debt, she started her own company and in the process researched this whole student loan issue for a paper for school. So tell us where you're from, kind of give us the condensed version of what we were talking about earlier.
Okay, so I'm originally from Lima, Peru. I came here 10 years ago to finish my last 2 years of high school. And the first time I came across a student loan was actually in my last year of high school. I received a call from Kaiser University, a for-profit university.
Yes.
And they told me, congratulations, Ms. Casuso. You just, because of your high GPA and your amazing grades, you qualify for financial aid. And I'm like, I don't think I have a very high GPA. I mean, I just moved to the country. I don't speak any
Yeah,
English.
how about that, right?
She doesn't speak English, but she's got a high GPA.
Well, I had my
don't
girlfriend, they did that
understand-
too.
Yeah.
I don't understand the language. How am I supposed to have a high GPA? I think I had like a 2.8 or something horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And so I told him, okay, I'll think about it. And every time that I hear something, that somebody tells me something that I don't think matches with reality, I look it up on Google and I put the word scam or fraud or something, with a bad connotation after it. So since they told me that they were going to offer me a student loan through Sallie Mae, I had no idea what that was. I had no idea what student loans were or anything. So I Googled Sallie Mae student loan fraud.
And your mom was first generation, so she really didn't
Everything.
have much help to offer you
my
there,
mom,
right?
my poor mom, she worked 3 jobs day and night to, put me through school.
The typical immigrant
And
situation.
you worked
which
2
is, yeah.
jobs too, and you paid half the rent. So I
Yes.
mean, you were. God bless your mother, And so then, go ahead and continue.
So I Googled them and I started seeing horrible stories, not only from websites saying what Sallie Mae was and what it did to people, but actual accounts from people saying that their lives had been ruined by Sallie Mae. They were homeless. They had declared bankruptcy.
Oh yeah, and you can't.
They couldn't do anything
The bankruptcy
about it.
doesn't include your student loans.
And I didn't understand what was going on.
What's
I'm like,
going
what is even a
on?
loan? I don't know what a loan is.
I hope not in high school, But I think people are learning earlier
Yes.
nowadays,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
Fortunately, yes.
So anyways, I obviously I didn't accept their offer because it was just terrible, everything that people were saying. And if you click on Google pictures for Sallie Mae fraud, you see pictures of people, like of young people, holding signs saying Sallie Mae ruined my life. Sallie Mae made me homeless. Help me, I'm a Sallie Mae rescue story and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to have anything to do with the Sallie Mae, whatever it is.
By the way, it's very important for people who are listening. What this young lady did is what we all should do when we're not certain of something. We have a tool nowadays called Google. And of course, you don't want to go on one source, but please look things up so we don't wind up being scammed, so we don't wind up being taken advantage of or abused. And she did the right thing. A lot of people do not do that. So this is tremendous education that she's giving everybody out there listening. Do the due diligence that attorneys and legality, it's called. Just do your homework. Take a little while and look into matters so you don't later on wind up being in a situation that you could have avoided.
Correct.
Or at least know what you're getting into.
And things have changed. I mean, the last 10 years have brought a lot of changes around. So things that you didn't know to look for before that were actually non-existent back when as far as information goes, there's a lot more out there now. So you worked all these jobs. You actually saved money ahead of time before you decided to go to college, correct?
Yes, when I graduated high school, I did not have a legal status in the country, so I couldn't work. I couldn't go to school. Nobody would offer me anything except for Sallie Mae. But so I started working as a nanny for a couple of years. I think it was 1.5 to 2 years, and then I finally got my immigration situation sorted out, and I got a job as an assistant manager at GameStop. And that was kind of the beginning of my my college career, because now I have this job, I can kind of pay for stuff.
So
I have
you
all this
saved
money
for
saved
3
up.
years.
I saved for 3 years.
Do you
and I
remember how much
started-
you saved? You don't have to tell us that, but I was just thought
Not
if you might
sure,
remember.
but probably $5,000 or something, so that I could,
Get in there and get
into school.
started.
Because remember, I wasn't a permanent resident.
Right.
I was in the process of getting the residency.
So you were paying out-of-state
So I was
tuition on
paying
top of
out-of-state
it.
tuition. So instead
Wow.
of paying, I think, $60 a credit, I was paying what, 300?
Oh,
Yes, it's much more expensive for non-residents.
Meanwhile,
Well,
Germany
yeah.
is offering free college to everyone now.
Denmark too.
Is it Denmark too?
Completely
Yeah,
free,
right.
guys.
Completely free. We can go.
Completely
We can go
free.
to Germany and get our college education now.
Yes.
So, all right. So you worked for 3 years, saved your money. You were doing management. You were working 55 hours a week there. Another part-time job.
Well, that started when I began BC. I got promoted. I was a store manager first, and then I started managing a couple of stores around Florida, Palm Beach. And that was a Play and Trade, another video game store. So I started doing much better, but still, I couldn't work. I mean, I couldn't pay for school.
Can you
so I
pull your
decided to get-
microphone down a little
Sure.
bit? Yeah.
So since I couldn't pay for school yet because, it was really hard, and also I had to help my mother.
Right. You're paying half
I'm
the
paying
rent.
half
You're
the
paying
rent,
half the bills.
utilities, half everything. So I got a part-time job at 7-Eleven, and I was working the graveyard shift for a couple of months.
Using that to study.
Yes, I used that time to study sometimes. The nights that I didn't work at 7-Eleven, I just stay up the whole night, lived off of energy drinks.
Which are horrible for you.
And I specifically told both of my jobs, Thursdays are school days. Thursday, I go to school from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh
You're
my
not to
God.
bother me on Thursdays. That is my day off, and I really need it. So they gave me that. And so, yeah, that was my life until I graduated FAU.
So now let's go. You also ended up getting pregnant, and your mom was
Yes.
deported that same
Yes.
day.
The same month.
The
week.
same month,
I don't
week.
even remember.
Oh my gosh, how horrible!
was
So were
terrible.
you were in school then, or were
I was in school, yes. I took a shorter semester. I was usually, because I wanted to graduate, get it out of the way, because I really wanted to go into a graduate program. So I was taking 6 classes a semester, but this semester I took 3. So that I could, give birth and manage.
Gee, you don't have anything else to do. Come on.
That was my the first time that I ever got a
Hats
student
off,
loan,
woman.
because I had to pay for the birth of the child.
So you paid that for cash too.
Yes, it was. I took the loan so that I could pay for the birth. It was $5,000. $5,000, and I graduated. I finally graduated with only $5,000 left.
Congratulations. Oh my God, you just are amazing. Now, during this time also, because of the research you had done with your student loan, what grade were you in when you ended up doing? You ended up doing a research paper, which I think is phenomenal that you
Yes.
chose that. Now, this was with which class?
I was taking an ethnography class. It was an independent study, actually. It was an ethnography, so I did a lot of qualitative research, which included a lot of interviews with just random people that I met. Because, qualitative research, you can't just pick the people that you know are going to give you the information you want.
Right.
So I just picked a random sample of people. I remember that I went to Wells Fargo to get a credit card, secure credit card. And the lady who was helping me, I'm like, okay, she seems like is successful. She's wearing a suit.
Nice shoes.
She has a nice
I
job,
like that
I'm
jewelry.
going to ask her how she went through college, how she put herself through college. Oh my God. This poor girl, she finished her associates.
How old do you think she was?
She was about 26 years old. She was my age. I was about 26 when this happened. Now I'm 28. So I asked her, hey, how do you do this? Like, how do you put yourself through college? You have a good job. And she told me, oh my God, don't even get me started. And I asked her what happened. And she's like, they told me, the bank, their job, they told me that in order for me to move up the corporate ladder, I needed an MBA. And they told me that they were going to help me finance it. And little did I know that they were going to give me a loan. And I took a $75,000 loan. I paid my MBA. 6 months later, I start getting $900 bills every month to pay for it.
That's a mortgage.
And I'm like, oh, but I'm guessing you got a much better pay. And she's like, well, I went from making $8 an hour to making $10.
Oh, wow.
With a $75,000 loan at $900 on that. And how do you keep that up? And that is
I just couldn't believe it.
Now, there's the Fab Five of finance that are just horrible people, which is Wells Fargo is one of them. You've got J.P. Morgan and Chase, and you've got Bank of
Citibank.
America. Citibank is the other one. That's the one I could. So here you've got, and I hear stories like this all the time. Okay. The damn banks and insurance companies have become the new Rome, people. You know, they aren't slaying us with arrows and swords and hanging us on crosses, but they are definitely killing us. So that was one story. I mean, here's a woman that, wants to go up the corporate ladder. She's young. They talk you into these things, basically, because the way they word things, it's all part of the learning curve, I suppose. But how wrong is it to do this to people? She's saddled with debt to this day, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. She
Well,
can pay.
there's another aspect here, and that is it's fraudulent to a large degree of a corporation, which is nothing new nowadays. Those of you who know me for a while now, and part of the Move On organization, which I'm a leader, we know the corporate situation in the United States of America. This is a classic example of a company caring for their own benefit and not caring at all for the party that is an employee who is studying to better herself, to supposedly improve the company and herself. That's what corporate management is supposed to be. I have a degree in that, so that's what it's supposed to be. But when you go and spend all that money and you get this incentive, and to go from $8 an hour to $10 an hour, that
With
is
a
highway
$900
robbery.
payment.
That is fraudulent. That's a lie. And that's one of the things that's wrong and what's ugly about corporate America.
Well, that's the thing, the greed nowadays. I mean, there's things that are wrong and unconstitutional and illegal that people do every day in these situations.
There is a second part to the story.
Definitely tell me. I was going
I
to.
hope, tell me it improves.
No, it gets worse.
So tell us.
So this girl had a $75,000 debt. She managed to pay $15,000, so she was down to $60,000 when Wells Fargo decided to sell her account to Bank of America.
Oh,
To what
bad
bank?
to worse.
Bank of America.
Don't say that word, please.
Oh, they're my bank. I know exactly how they are. Wow.
That day that they sold her account, her $60,000 turned into $100,000.
Oh yeah. See, so that's the
60,000
thing.
to 100,000.
They throw all
Just
these,
because
and
it
they
changed
never
hands?
Same
tell
thing.
you.
Because
they
it changed hands,
never
it
tell
changed the
you.
It changes,
interest.
of course, it changes everything. So from 60
More
to
fees, new
to
fees.
100,000, just
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
Which she didn't
From one
say,
day to the
sell my
other.
loan. But see, people don't realize this is happening. Even people that are paying on their loans, I'm sure people out there right now that have student loans, when they sell these things, I took everything away from Sally Mae that I could. I had paid off a $10,000 loan, which cost me almost $14,000. I've paid $35,000 of a $40,000 loan, and they want $48,000. And I can't pay my electric bill, and I'm giving up custody of my son. The paperwork started today because I just can't do it anymore. And what that means also is I lose my housing subsidy, these horrible Section 8 people that take advantage of the government. So I'm losing that, which means I lose my apartment because I can't afford the regular rent on that. So yeah, Sally Mae is doing this. They're doing it to people every day. Tell us some more. Got another good one?
Yes, I do. It's not as crazy as the first one, but this
Thank
girl,
God.
Yes, this is the one that I wrote about in my paper.
Okay.
But this other girl, she's actually she is not even working in her career. She went to 4 different for-profit universities because she didn't have the grades to get into a regular, a state school.
Yeah,
at the
I don't even think they
UNC,
could find my
whatever.
grades. I was Navy. I went to like 20 different schools.
But she went from school to school, and what's
I saw a
horrible
lot of
about these
that.
for-profit schools is that none of them,
I went to one.
and then that none of these schools can validate the credits that you did before in the same way as the regular,
Unless they're
Florida
regional, but there's
system.
so many. You have regional and
She told me
national
that
and
they
different
didn't
ones.
because for example, one school had a program, right? Nursing, let's say nursing, because I don't want to reveal who she is, but nursing. And then she went to another school to do nursing, and then they told her, oh, there's no nursing in this school. You have to do, register nursing instead. But the requirements are different, so you have to pay all this money
Yes,
instead.
you start from different fees and different.
Yes.
Well, the for-profits do that. They change
Yes.
their classes. I mean, there was a lot of things that I went in there to take that all of a sudden, well, we don't have that. We're not doing that because they don't have the students for it.
Yes.
Which then they, put in a whole new group of people to recruit you.
These places are horrible scams.
They are. And as a matter of fact, Strike Debt, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but Strike Debt is an organization. They basically, what they do is they buy up debt. Now, mostly medical debt. They've been working some more on student loan debt recently. But what they do is they buy it for what you buy debt for, just like the financial people. They've, in essence, become a financial group. So they buy up this debt and then they cancel it for people that owe ridiculous medical bills that have, that they can't get out from under of. And recently, it was Everest College. They decided Everest was the worst for-profit out there. And they picked up $100,000 worth of different people's student loans and forgave, some partial, some full, depending on what they owed and stuff like that.
Nice. I read something
So,
about that.
yeah, look into Strike Debt. And, what I want to encourage you to do is, we have petitions on MoveOn.org. There was a whole Fire Sally Mae campaign out there. Well, now everything has changed, so they had to start a new petition. It's not called Fire Sally Mae, but, just go to MoveOn.org, type in Sally Mae, and see the different petitions. About the fifth one down, there's one that is about getting rid of Sally Mae. They ripped off our government employees, our men and women that fight for our country. The original award amount was $137 million. 3 months later, it hit the newspapers again as $97 million. No money has actually been awarded. By the time they actually do, who knows how much they're going to pay. Point being, the government, the Department of Education, contracted them again. They've got a bigger amount than they had last time. So they're making more money for ripping people off. And our Department of Education is the one that did this. And their answer, they got the smallest piece of the pie. They shouldn't get any of the damn pie. Why? Why are we allowing the Department of Education to do this? I mean, they haven't done their job in years. Neither is the Consumer Financial. There's so much corruption. So, did you get an A on that paper?
Yes, I did.
And what did your professor say about all that? Did they have any input? Were they shocked? Did they know it?
They did know it, and they said, I'm so glad that you decided to look this up, because so many kids go through school, they pay for everything with student loans, not only their school, but also their apartments,
Right.
their gas, their food, everything they pay with student loans, and that adds up.
Well, too, but they make you believe, they show you statistics, they tell you, their job placement averages, and none of it matches what reality is.
Not at all.
So they're actually lying to you. Where we were, there was people in the elevators, the recruiters would be in there saying, oh, yeah, you get a free computer. We'd be there like, no, it's not free,
Nothing is free.
It usually got to the point where our little group of people, it was like, oh, we can't talk in front of her. Because I would steer them right out of my school.
And the problem is that they're getting bachelor's degrees, but right now the bachelor's degree weighs exactly like the high school degree weighed 50 years ago.
Well, right. Exactly.
So people are graduating with ridiculous amounts of debt, and they're having the equivalent of a high school degree.
Pretty much.
That's how much
That's
you're
what it
getting paid.
equates to nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah, for pay. I mean, I made more money before I went and got my college degree than I did after, and I've never and then it was too late. I was out of the restaurant business too long. I couldn't get back in there. So
Yes.
I mean, there's so many variables as to what happened. Now, tell me what you suggest, what you think people should do. And also I want to speak to the fact that don't you find that teachers come under a lot of fire if they try to advocate for the students? Have you seen any of
Oh
that?
my God, yes, I have. I don't know if we have time, but we had a huge protest last year at FAU led by a group of student leaders. Geo Group, the prison corporation, they wanted to buy the rights to the name of our stadium at FAU, and we're like, no. This is a school that is primarily minority students, and these people are lobbying the government to pass laws against immigrants and against people of color so that they can profit out of them. There's no way we're going to let them put their name
Well,
on
and
our
then they
stadium.
put you in jail.
Yes. They put me in
Okay.
jail.
We've went up like 700%. Our country, we're there. It's all privatized. It's all profit. Other countries, they're their prisons are emptying out. Ours are filling up because they
So
make money.
We made
It's a
huge,
moneymaker, big moneymaker.
Yeah. So we've only
So-
got a couple minutes left. Let's talk a minute about what we're going to put together at FAU, what we're trying to do. Do you want to go ahead and...
Long story short, some teachers got involved in this protest. The administration said, please don't get involved or your job's going to be on the line. That was the end. But we won. They left. The president resigned.
Yay!
So anyways, we are trying to put together a panel to discuss student loan debt at FAU.
And that's with us.
We're going to have a panel of probably 4 or 5 people discussing student loan debt. People who know about it, people who suffer through it. We're going to have a moderator just asking a few questions, and that's going to be probably the third Friday of January.
Third Friday of January. So we're going to keep that date, and you're going to come back and visit us a little bit.
Yes,
and we're going
to
do
give you the
updates.
details.
And okay, so is any closing words you'd like to say in behalf of what to do and how to handle this? Any words of advice?
To be honest, advice, I don't know what kind of advice I could offer. I could tell you get a job, but there's no
jobs.
I could tell you, I don't know.
Well, and through this
what do you
all,
do?
I mean, this is the year of the time of the entrepreneur for sure, and that's what you did. You opened your own little company.
Yes. Oh, that put me through grad school. That did put me through grad school.
And you did that doing what? Tell them what you did.
I had clients myself that I tutored, and I didn't have time to tutor them anymore, so I hired tutors around the area, and I paid
Smart
them
woman,
half
huh?
of what they paid me, which
Well,
was
they're
$50.
Playing our music,
Yes.
so we gotta go. But thank you so much for joining us, and there's
Thank
so
you for
much
having
more
me.
to tell, and we'll get things worked out. We'll have her back and give her a hands up and a high five for a job well done.
Tremendous example that we have here in this young lady. That you can make it if you try. It shouldn't be that hard, but at least she gave it a try and she's successful.
And we'll see you soon. Thank you all. Come back
Good
and see
night.
us next week.
Peace.
Oh, real quick, Revitalizing America, the Donald Cleveland. He will be our guest next week. An amazing book. Pick it up if you can. It's a declaration against our government. A peaceful.
Revitalizing America. Remember that.
Donald
We'll have
Cleveland.
it next week. Peace.
Yes. Have a good evening.
You have been listening to We Are the People with social advocates Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, who every week bring to the light the needs and changes in our current system. Tune in every Monday night at 7 p.m. on wearethepeople.tv and participate in the conversation in the chat room or call 888-565-1470. Tune in next Monday for more information and facts. And Tracy and Jorge remind you to stay aware of your surroundings and challenges at all times.